We have all been there. You watch the hard riding and the hill bombing and the MASH and Macafamo movies, and then you immediately hop online to start researching what first fixed gear you should get. And chances are you've probably run into a little company called Pure Cycles. Pure Cycles is really well known for their entry-level colorful fixed gears, but they also have a line of bikes that's more geared towards track racing, which is their Keirin series. For the past month, I've been using their top-of-the-line bike as my daily driver. Here's my review of the Pure Cycles Kerin Elite Orion. Just to be clear, Pure Cycles is not paying me to make this video, and these are just my unfiltered thoughts about the bike. With that, let's take a closer look at the Kerin Elite Orion's specs, the pros and cons of the bike, and ultimately whether it's worth your hard-earned money. Air pollution sucks, and not being able to breathe because of air pollution sucks, and not being able to ride your bike because you can't breathe sucks, amongst other things. Protect your lungs with the Inversion Layer 2.0 Net Gator by clicking the link in the description. At an MSRP of $969, the Kerin Elite Orion is a departure from Pure's initial offerings, and it has the specs to match. The frameset is triple-butted 6061 aluminum, complete with smooth welds, a tapered head tube, hydroformed top tube, and seat tube with a fancy wheel cutout so you can slam your rear wheel and pretend like you ride fast, a non-integrated seat clamp, because people tend to ham-fist integrated seat clamps on aluminum frames and end up cracking their seat tubes, and Constellation decals on top of a durable matte black finish. And the matching tapered full carbon fork ain't too shabby either. The wheel set has welcomed 25mm deep rims, which is nice compared to their usual 40-ish millimeter deep rims, lace tube maintenance-free sealed bearing Novatec hubs, and the radial lacing in the front is a nice sporty touch. The wheels are nothing really to write home about, but they are functional, understated, light enough, and durable enough to handle my less than cautious riding style with the occasional curb hop. The wheels are wrapped in the surprisingly supple Clement Strada LGGs in 25C. Now moving on to the drivetrain, we have Miche. Yes, it is pronounced Miche. I had to research this because I don't know how to speak Italian. We have the Italian-made Miche Primato crankset, or as I like to call them, the budget-friendly Sugino 75s, paired with the matching Miche Advanced chainring in 46 tooth. For the chain, we have the budget-friendly but solid KMC Z410. The drivetrain was almost completely stellar if it wasn't for the cheapo cog and lock ring. It's a bit disappointing that such a solid drivetrain was paired with such a cheap cog, because a cog that wears down quickly will also wear down the chain and chain ring more quickly. For the contact points, we have a full data cockpit with a Data Zero stem and Data Elementi pista drops paired with track grips. It seems like they decided to go with track grips over bar tape for aesthetic purposes. With track grips, a top tube protector is a must, especially on an aluminum frame that dents more easily. Moving on back, the Data Zero seat post completes the Data finishing kit, and the Pro Logo Scratch Pro saddle was surprisingly comfortable for me, and I could easily handle 50+ miles in that saddle. The complete 58cm Orion that I have here weighs in at 17.5 pounds without pedals and 18.5 pounds with my time attacks. I'm not really much of a weight weenie, but that seems a bit on the heavy side considering it has a full carbon fork and it is an aluminum frame set, but I don't really care about weight. Go do with that information what you will. On paper, the Kerin Elite Orion is just okay as far as bang for your buck goes. With a lot of complete bikes, you get a pretty good deal as far as individual components go, and you save a lot of money getting the complete bike. With the Kerin Orion, that is not the case. The complete bike retails for $969, while the MSRP of all the components added together adds up to around $922 to $972. With the complete, you get a really solid track bike out of the box where nothing really needs to be upgraded aside from the pedals and the cog, but you sacrifice customizability. But if you just want a solid complete bike off the shelf, the Orion will definitely fill that role. That is the Orion on paper, but how does it perform in the real world? Here are my observations on the Orion starting when it arrived at my door. The Orion was quickly shipped and well packaged. All the tubes were protected with foam and there was nothing out of place upon opening the box.
box. The assembly was just throwing on the handlebars, putting the seat post in with the saddle already attached, flipping the rear wheel to fixed because for some reason this supposed track bike was set up as a single speed, and double checking the bolts and lock ring. Overall, the unboxing and the setup was a pretty standard experience, which is how it should be. And yes, I have gotten bikes that have not been standard experiences, and they were a pain to set up. The attention to detail on the Orion is pretty good with just a few minor hiccups. The mere inclusion of a freewheel was a bit strange to me considering that they market this thing as a track bike, and while the pre-installed front brake was a nice inclusion, the bike out of the box was set up as a single speed where you'll want both front and rear brakes. It kind of seems like the bike was having a bit of an identity crisis. The aforementioned cog should be upgraded out of the box to preserve your nice drivetrain, which is a little bit disappointing considering the bike's price tag. Also, when unlocking the bike, the handlebars would bang up against the top tube if you're kind of careless like me, which led to moments of minor panic. Because of that, either bar tape or a top tube protector would have been greatly appreciated so I don't dent the frame. And the down tube decals don't perfectly line up at the bottom, but whatever. Other than these minor spec issues, the frame set and the components are stealthy and understated. The paint is smooth and thick and looks pretty much the same compared to when I first unboxed it. And the hand-polished smooth welds give the frame some craftsmanship points. I quite enjoyed riding the Orion on the streets and skidding through a rear tire that's not mine. Although the Orion is marketed as a track bike, its touch more relaxed geometry makes it more suitable for road riding. With that said, I wouldn't really hesitate to take it on the track. It has a high bottom bracket which allows for confident cornering without fear of pedal strike, and the 410mm chainstays gives the bike a nice and stable ride characteristic that makes it really easy to hug the line or ride on the line. Overall, the bike rides pretty neutrally, but in a good way. Because of the more relaxed geometry, I felt that I had to consciously coax the bike in order to take corners as sharp as I wanted to. But the upside is that this bike is more comfortable for longer rides. Although it comes with track drops, I found myself not really wanting any more hand positions. The track drops were good enough for me, and I was able to do the majority of my riding comfortably in the drops while still being able to see traffic. When I first got the Orion, I was a little bit concerned that it would ride similarly to other aluminum framesets I've tried that I can best describe as ass hammers. The 25C Clement Stratas certainly helped to absorb the road vibration, but they were also surprisingly more supple than I was expecting. While the frameset certainly is stiff, it's not nearly as jarring as other aluminum framesets that I've ridden. Up until now, I thought that tapered head tubes were just trendy marketing mumbo jumbo, but I actually did notice that the front end was considerably more stiffer than any bike I've ever ridden. And the 31.8mm data piston drops help you to get the most out of that front end stiffness. But seriously though, the front end on this bike is pretty dang stiff. Just the slightest nudge on the handlebars, you can feel the entire bike propelling forward. Unfortunately, because I reviewed the bike in Sacramento, I wasn't able to thoroughly test how the bike climbs and descends. But with the two 80-foot tall overpasses that we have here, yeah, I know the climbing here like really sucks. I was able to casually crush my Strava records on the climbs and the descents, along with most of my other Strava records in town. This bike is deceptively fast. I normally ride a 48-17 ratio for the flats if I'm going brakeless, but I found that the 46-15 ratio was actually a bit too spinny for me. I wanted to swap out for a 48-15 or even a 48-14, which are way bigger ratios than I normally ride. The Orion wants to go fast with that stiff front end, and sprinting in the drops just feels right on this bike. It's fast and it's comfortable enough to cover long distances, but is it worth that $969 price tag? If you've got the cash and you just want a bike that'll get you on the track or the street, the Orion will do that in a well-specced and convenient package. The problem that I see with the Orion is the competition. At that $969 price point, you can do a custom build to get a bike that is truly your own. The most comparable bike that competes with the Orion is the ever-popular Dolan Precursor. You can get a similarly spec'd Precursor with a few minor differences. The Precursor doesn't have a tapered head tube, but it does come with Sugino 75s, shipped to the US for only $899 $199. That's $70 less than the Orion. But that comparatively affordable price is probably due to Brexit amongst other factors, leading to the recent appreciation in the British pound. In 2015, a Dolan precursor with 75 shipped to the US would cost just a smidge over $1,000, making the Orion the more appealing choice. Another bike that directly competes with the Orion that is very similarly spec'd is the State Bicycle Co. Undefeated 2, priced at $980. Between the Orion and the Undefeated, on paper, it comes down to which one you think looks cooler. Neither of them have a distinct competitive advantage in the marketplace that I can see. Other than that, you can buy a burrito and a large horchata with the money you save by getting the Orion. Also in this price range is the complete All City Big Block, but All City refuses to sell frame sets and completes online to protect their dealers, so good luck finding a dealer and getting one. Another consideration is the 2017 Aventon Cordoba at half the price of the Orion. The Cordoba also has a tapered head tube, a full carbon fork, and smooth welds, but with just a bit less nice components. But it's also half the price of the Orion, and you can easily upgrade whatever you don't like about the bike with the money you save getting the Cordoba. The value of the Orion is just slightly better than if you were to get the individual components at MSRP. It's fast, it has somewhere between road and track geometry, and barring the cog, you won't have to upgrade anything on this bike. And that's the advantage that the Orion has. Pay the cost up front and you can spend more time riding and enjoying your bike and less time shopping for upgrades. If you are new to the channel and you enjoyed this video, why don't you do yourself a favor and never miss another one of my fixed gear videos again by hitting that subscribe button. You won't just be a subscriber, but you will be a subscriber. And if you want to become a super subscriber and support the channel and help me make more videos and more better videos, consider supporting me on Patreon. Once we hit that Patreon goal, I'll be able to make videos twice a week instead of once per week. And if you've already ridden your bike today, why don't you reward yourself with another video? If you haven't ridden your bike today, stop watching me. What are you doing? Get out and ride your bike. It's summertime. Go have a good time out there.